Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Cafecito in Conversation. I am your host, Dominica Scatel, and I am so excited to present all of you my next guest, Ana Lydia, Monaco. And I am so excited because we're just going to dive into this conversation, but you all have to get to know her. She is an award-winning filmmaker. She's also an exhibited photographer, an ex-PR specialist, and she's a fur baby mama. How many of us are fur babies mamas? Like, seriously, I love it. And she lives and works in Los Angeles. Her raw dramatic stories straddle divergent cultures that challenge and satisfy audiences with political and social subtext. You can find her on Twitter, where she has almost 20,000 followers. So I am so excited to bring her on and have this conversation with her. So here she comes, Ana. Oh my
Hi, Dominica. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining me in this conversation.
Thank you.
Girl, I am just in awe of you. Like everything that you're
Oh,
doing, like seriously, let's dive in and talk about it. So before we start, I just if you want to let everybody know, I know I gave you an introduction, but I always love asking, like, do you just want to go ahead and let everyone know like who you are?
well, you said my name, Ana Lydia Monaco. I live in West Los Angeles, and I am a filmmaker. And like you said, my background is in PR. I did PR for many years, PR marketing, social media. Decided to go back and apply to film school. I got in and I started working within a week of graduating. Haven't stopped since. I've worked in various departments within film production, from the production office to even working in development, which was the last job I had right before Corona struck.
Right.
And I've worked mostly on features. I've done some commercials. I did work on a digital TV show that I was telling you about that's going to be
Yes.
launching next year that I'm really excited about. And then, of course, there's my projects, and I just wrapped Lola. So,
Right. Oh, can't wait to talk about it all.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I am really interested because I was like asking everyone this, how, especially knowing that you made a shift from PR to film, like what
Mm.
was the thing that struck you that motivated you to make that switch?
Actually, filmmaking and storytelling was part of my life since childhood. I
Mhm.
directed my first play when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
But as a Latina, it's very typical that your parents encourage a more traditional career path, like
Right.
business or being a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, etc. So to them, writing was a hobby, art was a hobby, directing wasn't even something that they thought about. And because they didn't encourage me, and I didn't see anyone that I know doing it, there was no way. So I
Right.
took a very traditional path. But if something is your passion, it never goes away. So I always saw films. I was always involved in the arts in some way, shape, or form. Even when I was doing PR, I worked on entertainment and fashion campaigns. So basically, did what I wanted to do, but on a peripheral level.
Okay.
And then it got to the point where PR was no longer satisfying me. I had reached the pinnacle of what I could do. I owned my own agency. Disney was my client. Disney Resorts was my client. I had done what I could do, and I wasn't happy when I should have been happy. And my husband was very supportive. He works in the film industry, and he's like, "Why don't you do what you want to do, which is film?" And that was really scary. I had a few friends also that encouraged me. My family, unfortunately, but to be expected, did not, because I was going into something scary. I was
Right.
leaving something that I was really good at and going into a career that, there's no guarantee. I mean, there's no guarantee in anything, but working in the film industry is definitely one of those careers that more people sink than swim.
Okay.
But now that I have done a few things, and I make a few presentations here and there, and I work with the Smithsonian. Now that I've done a few things, I've been out of
Mhm.
school. Next April, it'll be 3 years, believe it or not.
Okay.
And my resume is a lot longer than a lot of people that have been in the industry to five to 6 years, because I never say no. I feel like my family finally has come to terms with, like, this is what she's going to do. You know, my niece and my nephew, who are my heart, they're excited. They see their tia and they're like, oh my God, she's working on a movie. And I'll send them like pictures from set and they're excited. So, you know, it was a definite, yeah, it's a journey, you know, it's a journey. There wasn't like a moment, I would say. It's a journey until the time was right. That's when I took the plunge.
Right. And thank you for sharing that. And I really wanted to ask you that because I feel that I recently made the shift from corporate America to launching my own business. And this is how we're here today. And, you know, often I get asked the question, like, how did you know? And it was like that heartstring. And I think you said it beautifully of like, you know, it was that thing that you feel where just, you know, you're just not happy. You know, people were pointing out to me, Dominica, you know, you're not lighting up. Like, I see you in this other area and you're dynamic, you're charismatic. And I'm like, that is such a big shift from seeing you in corporate America. And when I started to pay attention to those things, I was like, oh, wait a minute, you know, something's wrong here. And the biggest blessing out of it, like, I never expected so many doors to open the minute I decided to follow that. And right. And what you were right now, when we're talking offline, your Friendsgiving movie opened so many doors for you. So I was hoping to jump a little bit and dive into that on how that experience was.
Oh my God. It was the most amazing experience ever. I will backtrack a little bit and say that the reason I was able to work on this movie is because I took a line producing class while I was in film school, and I really liked the female professor. And I'll have to note that she was female because there's very few of us in the industry, so I always like to call them out. Tara was amazing, and after taking that class, I said, I'm going to TA for you. I didn't even ask her. I said, I'm going to TA for you. And then when I TA'd for her after a couple of weeks, I'm like, I'm going to work with you. And I didn't know how it was going to happen. I knew it was just going to happen.
Right.
So she forwarded my resume to the production coordinator of this film, Friendsgiving, a few weeks before graduation. I actually had the interview on rehearsal day. And I got called a few days later. No, I got called the next day with a job offer. Amazing. The issue is that I had jury duty. So I couldn't start work the week they wanted me to start work, which was unfortunate, but I had to do jury duty because I kept turning it away during film school. So this was the last week. I couldn't turn it away anymore. And Malcolm, his name, was like, would you be open to be a day player in any other department? I'm like, yes, absolutely. My models always say yes. Just say yes. What's the worst that can happen? So I went in as a day player, working with locations. I work with the locations manager named Ozzy.
Okay.
He fell in love with me that same day. He's like, you're the most organized. You're the happiest person I've ever. And of course I was happy. I was doing something that people dream to do, right? Like, it didn't matter, right? And he's like, I'm going to need you for a couple more days. I'm going to call them up. And they approved it. The next day I got a call from Malcolm, and he's like, hey, I heard that you have fashion background, because I worked in fashion and entertainment in my PR life. And I said, yes, I actually do. He's like, would you be open to work in the costume department? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Well, they're going to need you for at least a couple of weekends during the shoot, because it was I want to say it was a 6-day shoot. It was a union shoot. It was amazing. So, and then later I got a call from Malcolm again, and he's like, hey, we actually do need you back in the production office.
Wow.
So I ended up working in the production office, in locations, and in costume department, like different departments on different days of the set, of the shoot. And while I was on the shoot, the executive producer, Tara, who had been my professor, who actually, forwarded my resume to Malcolm, asked me if I could do something. And I said yes. And before the end of the film, I started working on, I want to say 2 or 3 of her other films.
Okay.
I started doing more work on Friendsgiving. Like, I even helped with music, and I ended up doing so much on this film.
That's amazing.
And then people heard that I had had done really good work, and then I got hired for other projects. So it took saying yes to this one day gig. That's what a day player is for other things to happen. So it was such an amazing, more wonderful opportunity. I didn't care that I got paid peanuts. I did not care that I was walking up and down streets working in locations. I was like, I am doing this. This is a way in. And I did it with a smile because I was happy. I was truly, truly, truly happy. And that opened up so many doors. And I will forever be grateful to Tara, because I wouldn't have ever in a million years been able to walk onto these type of situations and projects and films had it not been for her.
Right.
So I'm beyond amazing woman.
No, I love that. Thank you for sharing that and pointing that out too, because lots of times we have this opportunity to help someone else, and we get lost through life and, external stressors, and we get busy of not paying attention and not being in the moment. But just, it's beautiful to hear when somebody else says, yeah, I'll help you. Let me do this for you. And the ripple effect through it, it's like amazing. And then you said something so key that I feel is a great thing to share with everyone. So definitely, if you're watching or you're listening, put us on pause, go get your notebook, go get the pen and write this down. And it's the to say yes, to simply say yes, right? Because how many times do we I wasn't, I didn't have a mentor for a very, very long time. It was like later on my life as an adult. And, there was things where like I felt so afraid or unconfident or maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome, because I felt like, no, I don't know how to do that. And lots of times I said no to things, but I got an opportunity to be a part of this cohort, and I met someone that gave me the same advice. And it was, Dominica, you just say yes. And that was a real like significant moment that I really valued. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I've been saying no all this time because I've been unconfident. I'm like, you know what? What if I just learn in the process?
And there's nothing wrong with saying yes to work that is unpaid, especially in the film industry. And I know people are going to be like, no, I don't want to be taken advantage of. Like, no, I need to build my, I need to pay my bills. I get it. And I think this is why there's so many people that are Hispanic that don't work in the film industry, is because they cannot financially afford to do non-paid work. I would be willing to do unpaid work, because I have a husband who helped pay the bills. We weren't depending on my salary, and I get that. But that's, but at the same time, you have to invest in your career. So you figure, if you really want to do this, you figure out a way. And at the end of the day, nobody asks how much did you make on each project. They just look at your resume. And that was one thing that I noticed before I graduated film school, is that most of the men had a really long resume and most of the women did not, because along the way, coaches or gurus or whatever started telling women, you got to get paid your worth. But what they didn't explain to them was, but there's some projects that are worth their weight in gold, even if you don't get paid,
Oh, so, girl, the mic.
So it's not always about the money, because the money will come later. Filmmaking is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're not going to make money right away. And if that's your intention, to make money immediately, then you should get out of it. Like, honestly, don't do it. Because there's plenty of people, mostly men, and I will honestly say most of them are Caucasian, who have the support of their family and their partner to do these projects for free or super low cost. To be honest, it's always the woman that's like, okay, how much does this pay? And they don't think about the big picture, because somewhere along the way, somebody said, get paid your worth. You are worth something. And money is not a definer of your worth. Money is, and how much a project is how much a project has. That's it. Like, it has nothing to do with you. This is the budget. This is all we have. So like my first DP, which I worked on several shoots,
Okay.
he did the first thing for free. He actually did all of my projects for free until the last one.
Okay.
So by this point, he was able to use some of my projects on his resume and get other paid work, you know, not because of me, but because this really helped. So
Right.
I just wish more people would talk about that, is that yes, it has a project budget has nothing to do with your worth at all. It's just what the project budget is. It is what it is. And if you can't afford to do it, then you can't afford to do it and you move on.
Right. No, and that's a great point that you bring up, because I think sometimes, especially in the film industry, with people that I've known that have attempted to pursue it as a career, get a little bit lost on those dollar signs. But
yeah,
I've learned myself fairly quickly, trying to find my way in my career, that it's not about the dollar signs. That sometimes I did have to do these jobs that didn't pay so much, and sometimes I volunteered just to learn how to do that thing. And the value of that one encounter, of being able to learn from somebody and get that in that experience and the ins and outs of that industry, is like worth so much more than the actual paycheck itself.
Right.
I love that you pointed that out.
Yeah, and it's you need to be very strategic and very, very smart about it as well. Like, you're not going to do every project that comes around, that comes to you. Like, you really have to be strategic. Am I going to learn something here? Am I going to meet someone here that's going to potentially be a long-term friend or connect? I mean, you're not going to go pass around your resume to everyone you meet, but are these the people that you want to work with later? Because a lot of the film sets, they hire the same people over and over and over again. It's very common to do that. So you really have to think about, like, are these the kind of people that I want to work with again? Do I like the kind of work that I'm doing? And honestly, it doesn't, like, I would have done Friendsgiving for free. I would have totally done it for free, and it would have done the same for my career, with or without the money. You just have to think about it, and it's very easy. Just compare people's resumes and see what they have. You know, a lot of people's resumes are available online, and I compare my resume to a lot of people all the time, because I want to see, like, am I where I'm supposed to be right now? And I'm always like, gosh, I have done so much. Like, 1 year I worked on Friendsgiving, 3 commercials, 2 documentaries. One of them was with the Smithsonian in a single year, half a year, actually. You know what I'm saying? Like, you compare yourself. The next year I directed another project. Like, you have to really, and then I directed a theater production. The only people that you have to that you have to grow, compare the growth with is others, but the only people that you have to, like, really care about where you're at is yourself. Yeah.
No, that's so true. Yeah. And I know since Friendsgiving, you've done so much. And it's something that really stood out to me before we get into Lola's journey, because that's your most recent piece. But I wanted to talk, I really wanted to ask you questions. Mulan. And great. Yes, and just having that experience of being on that set, because to me, there's 2 things going on here. Like, I completely admire you being a woman in the industry, because, like, you said it yourself, like, there's so many, white Caucasian men, like, really vested in this opportunity. And so I not only that, but then also being a part of a movie that got a lot of excitement for the live, being able to have this real life character that's Asian come to life. So, like, how was that whole experience?
The writers, because there were several writers, and the director and the producer of the film. So I was the in-between person. I got that script ready to get it shot, and then, then send it to set, and they worked on it. It was such an incredible experience, but I couldn't say anything because it was during the reshoots that they were doing here in LA.
Right.
I saw the ending of the script. I saw the additional pages. Of course, like all the press is talking about what the film was going to be like, and you know what Nikki Carroll directed, like, and I just had to be like, mum's the word. Like, I didn't even tell anyone that I was working on Mulan other than my husband, I think, and a couple of friends. Like, you know, confidentiality is key, and it's more important than self-promotion, because I wanted to have that opportunity, not just for a one-time thing, but for, you know, future opportunities with Disney, which is, you know, the first big trip I took as a child. I was 2 weeks old and I went to Disneyland. So I've always been a Disney fan, and to work with Disney was just like, you know, like it was the most amazing experience ever. And Disney has been my client before on the PR side. Like, I helped open, you know, Downtown Disney and did PR for that. And I worked with ABC and I did Modern Family, but it's completely different to work on a feature film. Like, completely, like, you know, sitting side by side with Nikki Carroll and going through the script, I was like, oh my God, we have the scene elsewhere, or we don't have the scene, or, you know, it says yellow here, but should it be red? And like, did you already shoot this? Or like, being a script coordinator is so complicated. But it was such an amazing experience that I will forever hold dear.
Thank you for sharing that. That is amazing. And it's a true testament to the power of just following your passion, right? Like the experiences and everything that's waiting for you to just come and grab it. And
But you know what? I couldn't do anything without my mentors and these amazing professors and people that I've met along the way. The reason I got this project is that Joy Kecken, one of my professors, also someone that I worked with, and she helped me develop my first pilot and my first show Bible. She got a call from the executive producer and said, we need someone to be a script coordinator. Do you know of anyone? She could have called anyone, and she called me, and she's like, are you available? I'm like, I will make myself available. And that's the thing. I never say no. And I never asked the budget. Like, I didn't care. I mean, the experience of having Disney on your resume and Mulan on your resume is way more important than the money. And I did it. And Joy and Tara, they're the people that if they ever need me, they know they can call me at any time, and I will do the work. Ingrid on the advertising side as well. Like, she needs anything at all, I don't even ask what the budget is, because I will do it. And because they're there for me, I am there for them. Like, I'm not just reaching out to them when I need a job. I actually never reach out to them to like send in my work or to send in my resume. I was just talking to Gloria, who I met through Ingrid, and Gloria is Danny Trejo's manager and business partner. And I called to check up on her. Just, hey, how are you? And what are you up to? What are you working on? And she remembered these orchids I sent to her when she took me out to dinner after I graduated film school, because I sent her something as being grateful for her, you know, taking time out of her day to take me out. I was very, very grateful. And all of my mentors always say this about me, is that I'm genuinely grateful. Like, I don't call them just when I need something or when I need a favor. Like, I'm always like, how are you? I haven't talked to you in a while. Like, what are you up to? Let's go out to lunch. Let's go out to coffee. Like, I will pay for lunch. I will pay for coffee. I don't care. And I think this is why they pay for lunch sometimes, because I'm grateful, and I buy them flowers, or I send them a little gift, or, you know, I thought about this news thing that came out. I thought about you, and I send it to them. And these are things that I didn't learn from a mentor. I didn't learn. I learned from my family. My mom's side of the family is very wealthy in Mexico, and they know how to do business. So as a child, I had the privilege of seeing and hearing how they did business. And that is something that across the board happens in business, and not just in the film industry, but it also happens in the PR world. And that helped me, you know, do a lot of different things. Like, the way I got to do Disney on my own as my own agency was because I was checking up on an owner of an ad agency, and she remembered me, and then she called me, can you do this? And of course I said yes. And then when they needed another favor, I said yes. And then more work started coming. But I never looked at it as, how much money am I going to make? Like,
Right.
how much is this going to pay me? And if you come from that side, which everybody deserves to get paid, I get it,
Of course.
but
Right.
it will always be transactional. And I was never building it, like, it was never about a transaction for me. It was always about like building a relationship and like really establishing trust and showing them that I really genuinely care. And then the rest will follow. You know, they'll see that I'm actually good at what I do. They'll see that I'm actually, you know, interested, and that I'm a hard worker, and that they
Right.
are, you know, they're proud to have me on their cast or their crew, and they're proud to hire me, and they're excited to talk to me because it comes from a good place.
Yes. I
Mm-hmm.
love that when you can walk in a space of gratitude like that,
Mm-hmm.
and just from just a place of service, you
A
can never
place
go
of
wrong,
service.
right?
Never. No,
Never,
it's
like,
never about you. It's always about them. Like,
right.
always. Like, I still have my first PR mentor. I met him in my 20s. I'm now in my 40s, and we're still close. He just called me
I
the
love that.
night before. He just literally called me like a day before, 2 days ago. Like, the days are getting like mixed together, right? It is, and I'm like, and it's Friday, and it's late, and we're tired. So if I like garble the words, that's why. But I mean, I'm still in touch with him, and that's the thing. Like, you know, he's in the PR world. He left the fashion and lifestyle space, and he's now working in nonprofit. Like, what does he have for me, and what do I have for him? You know what I'm saying? We have a relationship. So that's why we keep at it, and we're still friends. And it's always from that place of service. And it always comes back in a good way.
Oh, definitely. And I always, it's funny because a friend of mine a couple of years ago told me something, and I always hold it dear to my heart, because she said, Dominica, wow, you're always like a tree that has a lot of fruit on the tree.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it. And I didn't get it. It's like, I admire you because you always lead from a place of service, and
Right.
you like you have so many blessings because of it. And she was like, I was a
Exactly.
good student. And I thought, wow, I didn't even really think about it that way, because I always
Right.
try to lead with service being first, and like,
Right.
you know, especially being in a service-based business, you have to, you know,
You
don't
have
forget
to.
about the other person.
Right. And I think people are realizing more and more that a transaction world doesn't work anymore. It
Right.
just doesn't work, especially now in Corona, and the post-Corona world. We're realizing we want to work with people we like. Like, I reached out to you because I had such a great conversation with you with no expectation that you were going to interview me today whatsoever. So I didn't come from a place of, what are you going to do for me? It was more like, I want to catch up with you. I want to find out like what you're up to, how you're feeling, you know, what's Corona, you know, treating you. Like, Thanksgiving is next week, and you're one of the people that I met. So that is always how I am approaching the people that I meet in not just this industry, but just in general in life. And some people like it, and they connect with me, and some people do not, because they're looking for a transaction, and that's okay, and that's totally fine. And then you just move on. You find out that these are people that you will just need for a certain time and space and work. And then there's people that are going to be in your life for a very long time, like, even if you don't speak every day, you know?
Right. That's so true. And no, that's one of the things that stood out when we first met was you're just giving me advice. And I felt like it made
Oh,
me fell in love with you, because I thought, oh my gosh, like all my life I have to fight. Like I mentioned
yeah.
earlier, I didn't have a mentor till I was later on in life. And I thought, what a beautiful soul that
Right.
within minutes you're like, oh, try this, or have you done that? And I
No.
felt instantly connected to you. Like, oh my gosh, here's my hermana from another mother that we just haven't talked in a while.
Oh my god. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
know, honestly, if you again, and I say this over and over again, because I feel that many times, especially Latinas, we have such bad experiences, like when, you know, somos serviciales, and then somebody takes advantage of us, and we're like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore, so it's just a transaction. This is just a work buddy. This is just my boss, or this is just, instead of realizing that we still meet those people, but in general, you can't control people. You can only control yourself.
Yes.
So, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't control other people. If you're doing something with a hope that somebody's going to do something for you, you got it all wrong.
Right.
You got it all wrong, and it's going to come back and smack you in the face. Like, if you're doing it from a place of service and you really want to connect with someone and you really really like them, then things will work out when they're supposed to work out.
Right.
Like the call that I had with Gloria today, and I'm like, she's like, oh, so you want to direct a feature? I'm like, I just want to work.
Yeah.
I just want to create art. I just want to like create like these amazing stories and see, my beautiful brown women on, on
Yes,
stage
girl.
and
Yes.
the big screen. Like,
Oh, that
yeah,
makes
I'm like, right? And I'm like, it'll come. And then there's other people that are like, I'm going to make the big blockbuster. I'm going to make so much money and I'm going to do this. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's just not me. That's so cool, but it's just like, no, it's not me. And maybe again because of the privilege, and that's why I'm always kind of quiet about it. Maybe it's because of the sense of that I never really needed anything, and many people, they struggle. They struggle to pay the rent. They struggle for the food on the table or whatever. So everything they do has to come with money or with some sort of arrangement to help their family. Unfortunately, in this business, in this new world, it just doesn't work that way. And they're coming off wrong when they don't want to. And I see that a lot on social media when people post more and more like GoFundMe. It's like, I need a camera and I need a this. I need a this. Like you need. But what can you do? What do you do? How are you offering a service? People are going to get tired of paying for your camera, for your this, for your that, and using your disadvantages as a disadvantage instead of using your disadvantages as an advantage. Like it gets old after a while, and you tune these people out. And do you really want to be poverty porn?
Right.
Do you really want to position yourself as poverty porn? And not just financially, but just in general. Like you are not capable of taking care of yourself. Like, do you want to position yourself that way?
No, that's true.
So,
yeah. And then I always feel like first impressions are first impressions. And if that's what I've seen, it opens up almost Pandora's box and asking like, well, why, I wonder why this person didn't do this, or why are they going on here and asking for this? Do they operate that way?
Right. And that's the whole thing. Do they operate that way? When I was fundraising for Lola's Journey, one of the things that I kept hearing over and over again was how authentic and clear the budget was.
Yes.
How transparent everything was. Like everybody got paid the same. There was no secrets. The budget was not a secret. Everybody knew every single month how much money was raised and where it was going. Versus a lot of people don't do that. They'll be like, oh, I need $20,000. I'm like, okay, for what? Like, what are you going to spend that money on? And I was very, transparent. Like, this is how much we're spending on actors, on locations, on insurance, on this. I did a report every single month. People love that. They love that. And this is the first time I've ever crowdfunded. I've never crowdfunded. I've always paid for my own stuff. So I think that made people feel good about contributing to something that they knew was going to actually go towards the goal that I said was that I set it out to be.
Right. Oh, and I love that you brought up Lola's Journey, because I actually was able to jump on some of your Instagram lives, and I saw how transparent you were when you were mentioning the spreadsheet you had and how everything was going. And I was so impressed. And I thought, yes, this is definitely like, if I could not only help her, but contribute some money to help like other people's hopes and dreams that are tied to it. Like, that is so powerful. And I love that you did that, because there's been other campaigns that I've seen that I caught in some Instagram lives, or whether it be Facebook, and it was very like surface based, general. I need money for this, and that's it.
No, and it makes you not want to believe it. And unfortunately, again, I was talking to Gloria about this earlier. There's so few of us, and by few I mean women, and specifically women of color that work in the industry. So we are already put under a microscope. We do have to work doubly hard to when some
Right.
people fail upwards, we say that all the time, people fail upwards. We can't do that. And if we fail, the people that come behind us will fail as well. We're setting them up for failure. So every single thing I have done in the film industry has been general market, has not been Latino. And I've always been the only Latina, maybe one of two.
Okay.
Maybe one of 5 or 6 women on set, and these are multi-million-dollar sets. I get that there's a certain level of privilege that comes with that, and I recognize it. So when I was shooting Lola, and I was talking to my cast and crew before we shot the first scene, I told them, I said, many of you have never worked on a general market shoot and may never have that opportunity. He said, however, this shoot is going to be run like a general market shoot. It's a union shoot. And I hope that you take this knowledge and spread it and tell other people, because there's so few of us in the industry. And one of the things that they were so impressed with as well is the transparency. Like everybody knew, not just the money, to date, everybody gets updates. How much money is being raised. I have copies of checks. I have copies of everything. There was a bank account set aside for that, because if it ever comes back to me, I want people to know we did everything right. Like everything right. And I did not pay myself $1. The producer did not pay herself $1. A couple of actors donated their fees back to the film. Everybody got paid $200. Every single person. There wasn't a person that got paid more. Obviously, there was expenses that got paid as well, because I wanted to show people, like, you can do this and you can do it right, and you can pay everyone.
Right.
Because everybody got paid.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, how amazing is that? And which you have, it's in post-production, right? And then
it's in post.
Yeah, and then there's a screening. I want you to talk about that, because to be able, so for everyone who donates $100 or more, they'll be able to do a pre-screening right before it gets released.
Yeah, they'll get to see the film before it gets released and sent out to film festivals. We're going to be doing this screening probably the week of Christmas or the week before Christmas. We just heard the final song. You've seen the stories on Facebook. I mean, sorry, on Instagram. So you can hear the composer and the singer that wrote an original song for Lola's Journey. We have original music. Wasn't it gorgeous? It's so amazingly gorgeous. Like, we just wrapped the color. We just wrapped SFX. So we will have a film like right after Thanksgiving. I'm so excited. And then right after that, we're going to do the screening for cast, crew, and anyone that donates $100 or more. Anybody that donates $100 or more by next week, their names will be in the credits. So they'll be able to do that. If they donate more, they can reach out, and because at a certain amount, I think it's $1,000, they come in as an associate producer. So especially somebody that wants to have like a bigger credit to then use it for something else, this is a really good opportunity. Obviously, they can continue to send money, but after we wrap the film and finish the credits, I can't add their names to the credits, unfortunately. But I will, like I said, I come from a place of service, so everybody will be mentioned in social media. Everybody will be thanked. They raised and where the money went to. Like, they'll know specifically how their money helped make a Latino film. And especially people that are really focused on representation. Like, this is your chance, this is your chance to support a film that was written by a Latina, that was directed and produced by a Latina. The entire cast and crew is fully diverse. We had Asian, we had Black, we had Latino, we had white, we had everything. The cast was like, I've never been in a set so diverse, and it felt amazing. And it felt amazing to be in a space where our set and our movie looks like the world that we live in. It was like,
I love it.
you have no idea how amazing it felt. And I told Marlene, our lead character, right before we shot the final scene of the film. We shot it on Saturday,
Okay.
because you tend to shoot the film out of order, and we shot it on Saturday. And I was giving her a pep talk, and I'm like, Marlene, you're doing this for all the brown girls. You're
Yeah.
doing it for all the little fat girls. You're doing this for all the Latinas. You're doing this for all the Mexican Americans. Like, you're doing something so big. I'm like, it is bigger than us. Like, this film is bigger than us, and our tears is like, yeah, like our tears.
Oh, girl, I know. I'm like,
Girl, it was like so emotional to the point
Yes.
where I checked up on all my actors. Like, we finished shooting on Sunday, Monday, checked in on everybody, like, how's everybody doing? Because it was very emotional. We were working on a film that nobody thought we could make. I mean, who thought we were going to raise $18,000 during the pandemic? $18,000 during the pandemic. That's wild.
Yeah.
We made the film. We shot the film the first weekend Los Angeles opened up for filmmaking. We shot the film with no like DGA, no PGA, no COVID standards. We created our own. Now the PGA, the DGA, SAG, everybody has COVID standards. But when we started shooting, we did this on our own. We did this on our own. And so when I almost gave up, but I didn't give up because people were donating and they really believed in the film. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. This is bigger than me. This is not about me. This is so much bigger. It's like making a film about self-love and self-advocacy told through the lens of a plus-size Latina who's not poor, who's not uneducated, who doesn't live like in poverty, who like has it all together, except she doesn't have her shit together. Like, that's never heard of. That's like unheard of. So it's such a big deal. Like, I'm so honored to tell Lola's story. Like, I can't even express to you how like powerful.
No,
it was.
let me tell you, it radiates to the screen. For
Really?
that is watching or that is listening.
Mhm.
Like, really, if I can put it into words, the Care Bears when they like, that's the magnitude of what's happening here.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue this conversation. So if you want to connect with everyone who's watching, connect with us on YouTube. And leave us comments, leave us your thoughts. If you're hearing the podcast episode, because we're going to upload the audio there and continue. We'll have all the links, the clickable links to Lola's journey, to everything to you need to have to get connected, because this is my high horse right now, because for anyone that believes in representation and here's what this movie means, like in the magnitude of that, like, you need action.
Right. You can't talk about representation if you don't do something about it. And you can do so little if you don't have money. And there was people that would email me and they're like, Ana Lydia, I don't have money. I can't donate it, but I can send a tweet. I can tell my aunt who has a little bit more money. There was people that donated every single week. Every week towards the film during a pandemic. There was people that called their family. There was people that called their friends that had a little bit more. There was people that somebody bought lunch for a crew. They're like, what do you need help with? And I mean, there's so many ways that people can support, and nobody can make a film without community support. And nobody can make a film successful without the support of the community. And so I'm so grateful to you for doing this. And like you said, I'm very excited about this film, because I know that in times like this, we need to realize how much power we have within ourselves. And we need to see a representation of a Latina that is powerful, that is beautiful, but that doesn't have her shit together. And that's okay, because we can't be perfect. We can't be perfect, Somebody said that the last time they saw a plus size Latina was Real Women Have Curves. And that was over 20 years ago. And that's so sad. That is so sad when there's so many of us we're like Mexican Americans. We're the one minority in the U.S. We see movies more than any other minority group in the U.S. and yet there's no films about us. And the few films that you do see, they always have us as the poor immigrant struggle story. So it's pornography, it's struggle porn for other people.
Yes.
So it's stories that are done in the service to the white gaze. And it's not that. Lola is not that. The films that I work on are not that. And I want this to be the final step before I get into my next project that will hopefully be a feature, that I'm reading through so many scripts right now, like hopefully. But I can't do it unless people support this film, because we put so much heart and love into it, like the actors, the cast, the crew, that if nobody cares, then nobody cares. Then there's no point. There's no point of making films with diverse actors. I mean, you've proven it that the community has said they don't care, and I hope they do.
No, most definitely. And if there's anything that I have power over, that's going to be that we are going to blast you out to make sure everyone, this is at the forefront of everyone's mind, because I know the power behind it and how much this is tied to, and just the love and everyone just putting all this esfuerzo out there to do it. And so thank you. As we're winding down our time together, I want to honor your time and
thank you.
Sure that you know that I am so in gratitude for you taking this time and having this conversation with me. Yes, because right, you know that I'm here in the Central Valley and you're in Los Angeles right now, and I'm in the pocket of California where we have, like you said, these little brown girls that don't get to be in front of someone in the industry and paving the way. And really, you're going to give so much vision, and I'm so grateful for you to be able to share a piece of you and what you're doing in Los Angeles and the power behind it. So thank you so much.
Of course. And if I can do anything for anyone, my email is always open. I'm on Twitter more often than not. I'm very supportive of women, as you know, especially brown women. Like, I want us to be creative and successful, especially our little girls that may not have the resources or the tools. Like, I didn't have like the support from my family to do something in the creative field. I want to be that person. So whatever I can do to help these girls aspire to a creative industry career, I would love to be part of it.
Love it. Thank you so much. And for everyone that is either watching or listening, we'll make sure and put all the links so you can get connected and plugged in and follow Lola's journey and be a part of it. So until next time, thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode of Cafecito and Conversation. So bye, everyone. Bye. Stress.